Did you know that the ASUS TUF branding was first used in a durable motherboard in 2010? Then in 2011, ASUS launched the world's first armored motherboard, the TUF Sabertooth. After perfecting it for a couple of years, they launched their first optical mech gaming keyboard and then the world's first gaming monitor with concurrent motion blur. All of this was done under the TUF gaming branding. Now we have the TUF gaming laptop lineup and we have the ASUS TUF Gaming A16 Advantage Edition with us today that we are going to review. Now, I used the ASUS TUF Gaming A16 Advantage Edition for over a month and here are my insights about this machine that will tell you everything you need to know about this laptop. So let us start from the build quality first. When you look at the laptop, there are certain design cues neatly laid around it. So the TUF Gaming lineup is supposed to be military grade, tough and tested. But the A16 Advantage Edition skips out on the military testing, but it is still fairly well built. For instance, the triangular rubber foot at the bottom of the laptop reduces chassis flex when typing and also raises the laptop slightly for better heat dissipation. That's a clever design cue. And then it is a 2.2 kg machine, so this is heavy, but you will like all the ports it has to offer. So first of all, on the left side of the laptop, you have a DC-in, HDMI 2.1, LAN, 2 USB-C ports, 1 USB-A port and a combination headphone jack. And on the right side, you have another USB-A port and a Kensington lock. Now, the USB-C port on the left side of the laptop, one of those ports is USB 4 and can also charge this machine at 100 watts, so you don't need to carry the 240 watt bulky brick all the time unless you need the full power. Now when you open up the laptop, you are welcomed with a cross-shaped LED indicator that also adds up to a very cool boot animation. More on that later, but the cross-shaped LED indicator is also one of the clever design cues. It gives you useful information about the laptop's running status, the SSD working status, the battery and the connectivity options. Now flip the laptop over and you will see that this chassis enables some good upgradeability options. For starters, you have 16 GB RAM already baked in and you can bump it up all the way to 32 GB whenever you want. Then there is 1 TB SSD on board, but it has 2 more SSD slots, which means you can take the storage all the way up to 5 TB. That said, we now know this is a well-built machine with some clever design cues, all the necessary ports you need, and some good upgradability options. But what about the user experience itself? Let's talk about that now. When you open the laptop, you are greeted with a 16-inch FHD Plus IPS display. Now this is a 165Hz high refresh rate screen with a matte coating on it. The screen also has 7 millisecond response time, so it is fast and responsive during gaming sessions. My only bone to pick with this display is that it's not bright enough. With 250 nits of brightness, you definitely can't use it outdoors, but the display is detailed and crisp enough to watch movies like Avatar and Tenet in full detail and you won't notice you're missing out on something. I think it is a good display. And now coming to the speakers, I think those are a mixed bag. The speakers have a lot of good tech in them. These are Dolby Atmos speakers and they have AI noise cancellation. It means that if you are on a video call with somebody and their end they have a lot of noise on their end and it's coming to you, the speakers will filter it out for you. That's good tech, but the speakers are not loud enough. The sound separation is good, but there's virtually no bass. So I guess ASUS could have fitted it with better sounding speaker. The tech is already there. The speakers could be better sounding. That's about it for the display and the speakers. Coming down to the keyboard section, we have a well-spread 1.7mm key travel with a full-fledged keyboard and a dedicated number pad. You will need that number pad because there's no Windows Hello camera or a fingerprint sensor, so you need to put in your pin every time and it's faster to do that with the number pad. Now, that mushy feeling continues from the keyboard to the trackpad. It is a big glass trackpad, very responsive, but it's not clicky enough. But if you're a serious user, you can pair a Bluetooth mouse and you have enough ports to pair a USB mouse as well. So far, you have a good display, an okay keyboard and an okay trackpad. But what about the performance and what you're going to do with this display and this keyboard and the trackpad? Now coming to the performance, this laptop has an AMD Ryzen 9 7940HS chip which is paired with Radeon RX 7600S graphics. These two are accompanied by 16 GB RAM on board and 1 TB of SSD storage. And here are the benchmark scores. Now the Armoury Crate software also allows for some good performance options. First of all, we have the Windows and silent mode where the fans don't kick in at their full power and the performance is also capped. That is good for everyday use and you get about 5 to 6 hours of mixed usage. Now onto the performance mode, which is the next one. It is used for gaming and video editing or photo editing on battery power. You get about 3 to 4 hours of battery backup in this mode, but The performance upscale, you can actually feel the performance going up and the fans kicking in. Lastly, there is the turbo mode. This is my favorite. Bump the GPU all the way up to ultimate, connect it to a power source with the 240 watt power brick, and you have a machine that you can throw anything at. I played Far Cry 6 on this laptop. This was about 5 to 6 hours straight. I had walkthroughs open in Chrome. I was also writing this review at the time, and I had some other tabs open as well for research purposes, of course. And all of that, this machine took with no sweat. It broke no sweat whatsoever. Now, turbo mode aside, if you're playing games on the performance mode on laptop battery, and if it's a AAA title, the battery will drain within 1.5 hour to 2 hours of usage. Now that is good, but the heat from the side vents did cause some issue. Now I left my mouse there next to the laptop for about 10-15 minutes, and when I came back, it was hot to the touch. So I think that needs to be fixed, but for now I believe if you buy this laptop, keep your peripherals slightly far away if you're not using it and if it's on full power. As for the gaming experience itself, the 165Hz refresh rate, the 7 millisecond responsive timing, and the CPU, the GPU, and the big screen of the laptop, everything comes into its own elements. There's no abrupt frame drops or lags or anything else, even at maxed out performance for long sustained gaming hours. So you can definitely game on this without the need of an external monitor or a keyboard. All of that is good, but I'm in split about this laptop's battery. Now this has a 4-cell 90 watt-hour battery that can power this up for about 6 to 7 hours of mixed use. But when you are on performance mode or doing some heavy tasks, that comes down to 3 hours. It's not industry-leading battery, but with this gaming laptop, I think it is good to expect this kind of backup. And this laptop also has enough software controls to tune the battery performance to your use. So let's wrap up this review with some nitpicking and a verdict. To nitpick, I believe this is a heavy laptop. The vents heat up anything around them, the display could have been brighter, and the speakers could have been louder. With that out of my system, I don't have anything much to complain about this laptop at this price point. I use this laptop for working at the day and playing games at night, and I almost never shut it down in my 3 weeks with it. Now I've been using it in the office for my work and at night for gaming, and I almost never shut it down in my time with this laptop. And the quirks like the weight and the heating are something you're signing up for when you buy a gaming laptop. That said, the ASUS TUF Gaming A16 Advantage Edition is a difficult laptop to beat at this price. It is priced at Rs 1,40,000 at the time of shooting this review, and at that price you are getting a good top tier AMD specs and decent upgradability options. Those are my 2 cents on this laptop. Now let me know what you think in the comments, and follow this channel for more news, reviews and everything else tech.